might have come across such advertisements on various social media platforms. Please note, all of these are fraudsters promising unbelievable returns through stock tips. I don't provide any calls or advisory services. I provide only educational content through my social media handles and through my website rachanaranade.com and rachanaranade.in. Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a news-based video which is about why did REC, PFC, IRADA, why did all these stocks fall today? Well, it was mainly because of a draft guideline which has been issued by RBI on Friday. So first things first, has this been made applicable right away? No, it's a draft wherein comments are invited and ultimately then it will be made applicable to everyone. Okay. Number two, is this applicable only to PFC, REC? No, no, no. It's applicable to any lender, be it bank or NBFC, which is lending to something like infrastructure projects, project financing in short. Okay. So, what we are going to do is that if you see here, yes, this is the RBI ka whole guideline. It is just a 20-pager guideline. Okay, if you want, you can very well go through this guideline, entire guideline. I'll give the link of that in the pinned comment. Okay. Number two, instead of going through the entire guideline, what me and my team did, we did a shorter version of this, and just in like 2-3 pages, we are just going to discuss the key points which are there in this guideline, so that you can understand, be it any bank or NBFC, how will it impact them? Will it impact their profitability or not? Will it impact their valuation? What will happen is what we are going to discuss in this whole video. I'm going to do this video as a shoot and release thing, so just in case if I fumble on some figure, I'm going to give the rectified version in the pinned comment. So please don't forget to check out the pinned comment for this video specifically, right? So with that, let's get started. The first thing here was that RBI on Friday proposed to set a floor price, and this is mainly for what? For project finance. That is what I told you, right? What do we mean by a project finance is the first question. See, project finance refers to, we'll not go through this everything, but what is a project finance? You're going to finance a project like what? It could be a project for building roads. It could be project for construction of a bridge, for constructing a highway, or constructing what? Any, let us say, power plant, power project, some renewable energy related project. Okay. So if any bank or NBFC is giving finance to such type of projects, they are going to be covered by this new thing which RBI has come up with. Okay, new guideline that RBI has come up with. Again, I'm repeating, still this is a draft guideline. Okay. Now question is that what does the guideline mention? It mentions that 5% standard asset in construction phase is what these lenders will have to set aside as a provision. Bapre, means what? First thing you'll have to understand that if I'm talking about any NBFC which is giving a loan, what is it about this construction phase? Is there only a construction phase, or are there multiple phases in any project finance? Okay, so let's take an example of building a highway. So first thing, what will happen? What will be the first phase of any project? Design phase. Will they directly start constructing the road? No, ideally there'll be engineers who will first design the whole thing, and then after that starts the construction phase. After the construction is completed, then will start the operational phase. Well, actually the vehicles will start passing by, maybe toll will be collected. That will be the operational phase. Till here it is okay. Now what are we mentioning? That 5% is the provision that is going to be required on standard assets in the construction phase. Now, what do we mean by standard assets is the second question that comes up to our mind. See, basically, standard assets are those which are not doubtful. Ideally, these are assets wherein repayment will be done. Okay, that is why we call them as a standard asset. There could be 2-3 categories. One is a standard asset, one is a substandard asset. It could be a doubtful asset, it could be a loss asset. There are multiple classifications. Here we are talking about standard assets where provisioning is going to be required. Now, next question is that how much provision will be required and in which phase? Provision will be required the moment NBFC gives a loan, the moment bank gives a loan, or provisioning will be required based on where the project stands right now. Is the project in the design phase? Is the project in the construction phase? Or is the project in the operational phase? Okay. So tell me logically, when will provisioning be required? Provisioning will be required when it enters the construction phase. Okay, till here. Now, why do you think that this might have come into place? Now, there could be multiple logics. One logic could be that if there is a genuine boost to the power, to the renewable power especially, then there could be a lot of projects which start coming up for project finance. And if the banks and NBFCs, left, right, center, they start giving loans, Could there be a possibility that these could turn out to be bad loans? Possible. So what they are saying, that if the construction keeps on going and goes on and on and on, in Marathi we say project rakhadla, means what, the project is just going on and on, it's not getting completed only, then could there be a question mark about repayment? Yes. Why? Because it has to be completed. Once it is completed, then it will become operational, and when it becomes operational, then only revenue will be generated through tolls or something like that, right? And if revenue is generated, then only that project, whichever company has taken that project, they'll be able to repay the money to banks and NBFCs, right? So now we have to understand that how much is the provisioning that is required. Construction phase, general provision of 5% directly of the funded outstanding shall be maintained. What is the problem? On existing as well as fresh exposures on portfolio basis. So any bank or NBFC which is giving project finance, they have to directly do a 5% provision, is what people feel. Direct 5% provision. Correct. On what? On existing and fresh exposures. But wait, it's not going to be direct 5%. Wait. We are going to talk about this in 1 or 2 more minutes. But first focus. When it is in a construction phase, 5%. What? When it goes to operational phase, then what? Now tell me logically, construction is over. Now operations have started. Will the risk be higher or will the risk be lower? Obviously, risk will be lower because now the operations have started. So in that case, the provision will have to be brought down from 5% to, it can be reduced to 2.5% of the funding outstanding. Okay. And once, so you can read this when if you want, but I'm just giving you in brief. After the operations have started, if the project has positive net operating cash flow, and if they are able to repay around 20%, if they are not around, if they are able to repay at least 20% of the loan, in that case they can reduce the provisioning to even 1%. Okay, so again, from 5% they can reduce to 2.5% once it reaches the operational phase, and if certain conditions are met, then that provision can be reduced further to 1%. Simple to you. Now the point that I was telling you, direct 5% provision, no, that is not proposed. What do they propose? By 31st March 2025, this financial year end, only 2% has to be provided for. By the next year end, 3.5%. And by 31st March 2027, 5% will have to be provided. So is it directly going to have a hit on this year's P&L or balance sheet? No, not by 5%. Even if there is an impact, only by 2%. Absolutely clear till here. Now when I started to go through certain, newspaper or certain media reports, two reports I'm going to refer to. One is Times of India and second one is CNBC ka. Okay, now here they have specifically mentioned, I'm just going, okay, one important point which was mentioned in the Times of India thing. They said that okay, now they are required to do a 5% provision, but currently banks have to provide only 0.4%. So from 0.4% to 5%, that is going to be a big thing, right? Now important point is that they had mentioned in this specific article only, that it will impact the profitability. Okay, here you can see that according to a senior public sector bank official, the cost of project financing will increase due to higher interest rates. So one, he's saying that project financing cost may increase, and second point he mentions that the provisions will also reduce banks' profits as they have to be carved out of their earnings. So this is something which is a big point of concern. Why? Because if their profitability itself drops, then of course it's going to have a big impact on the stock price. But when I refer to the CNBC article, which is given by CLSA basically has given a report, and that has been mentioned in the CNBC article. The headline itself says REC PFC will see no impact on profitability due to draft RBI guidelines, says CLSA. Okay, one article says it will impact profitability, one article says it will not impact profitability. But if they have to do a provision, then how will it not impact the profitability? As per this article, they mention that the NBFCs follow Ind AS accounting standards. We are not going to go into that details. They mention that the difference in provision will have to be adjusted via impairment reserves. So those who are from an accounting background, you'll understand, if the adjustment is to be done by via impairment reserves, it is not going to hit the P&L directly. It will be an adjustment directly in the reserves. Okay, if this be so, I don't think there is going to be a big problem. Okay, so all in all, to conclude, what is the thing? Number one, is it only for REC PFC? No, it's for any NBFC bank which is lending for project financing. Number one. Number two, 5% right now, immediately will they have to do. It's a draft guideline, and even if that be so, even if it were to be implemented, still it is going to be done in a phased manner. Okay. Number three, we said that okay, if such provisioning is to be done, will the provisioning also lower? Yes, we said construction phase. Once it becomes operational, then it will reduce to 2%. If certain criteria are met, then even to 1% reduction. And finally, big $1 million question is that will it impact the profitability, yes or no? One article says no, one article says yes. This specific article also mentions that it may impact the valuation ratios of REC or PFC or something like that, but I don't see that to be a big concern. So overall, if you ask me my opinion on this, is this like a temporary jhatka or a permanent jhatka? I see this as a temporary jhatka, to be honest. In fact, I will look at this as an opportunity. If the price dips, you know what can be done, right? If you feel that you know something more about this, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As I mentioned, don't forget to see the pinned comment, as this was like a one take video that I shot. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye bye.